Omar. She hates Jewish people. And you have to be very careful because there's been a big change. You know, if you go back 15 years ago, I'm not Jewish, but my father was very friendly with many, many Jewish people, was honored by Federation. I would go with him to Federation of Jewish Philanthropies and many other things. And we grew up respecting and loving Jewish people. You know, you don't even think about it. In Brooklyn and Queens mostly. And my father didn't go to Manhattan. He never went to Manhattan from the standpoint. He could never understand how in Brooklyn you could buy a piece of land for $3 a foot and how in Manhattan you had to pay $1,000 a foot. He said, I can't get that. I don't like it. I like to buy it for $3. So it was different. It's a different thinking. In a way, I'm glad he didn't do that because he let me have some of that fun. And I had a lot of fun in Manhattan. We did great. But my father would tell me the most powerful lobby that there is in this country is the Jewish lobby. It's the Israeli lobby. It's not that way anymore. You have a lot of people in your way. You have a lot of people that don't want to help Israel. You have a lot of people in Congress that don't like Israel. You have a lot of people in Congress that, in a way, I think, Mike, we could say it, right? You're there. You're doing an amazing job, Mike Lawler. They hate Israel. They hate Israel. And if you would have told me 15 years ago that that was possible, Jason, I would have said, there's no way. There's no way that's possible. But it's happening. And obviously, it's getting progressively worse. Less so in the Senate, but the Senate's starting also. You get glimmers, you know, when I'm in the back rooms talking to people, you get glimmers of statements that you say, whoa, where did that come from? So we have to be, Sid, we have to be very careful because bad things are happening. And then you see what goes on in Australia or October 7th. How about October 7th? And then you have people that deny it ever happened. How about the people that deny, like they deny the Holocaust, but, you know, you figure, well, that's just many years. Well, October 7th is not many years at all. And you have people that deny October. I saw tape that I wish I never saw it, actually. I wish I never saw it. I got to see tape that some of you got to see, but as president, I got to see things I wish I never saw. But there's no denying it. But then they'll say, oh, the tape was a rigged tape. It was a tape that never existed. They made it up. It's just propaganda. I don't know if they believe it. I don't think they believe it, but you have to be very, very careful. Bad things are happening, and we're not going to let that happen. While I'm president and the DOJ and Harmeet, we're not going to let it happen. But please, please be vigilant and careful because you have some bad people that are now in Congress that were unthinkable to be in Congress 12, 13, 14 years ago, 15 years ago. Within days of taking office, I signed a historic executive order to combat...
All right, welcome to the live Zone Primetime. It's 9 o'clock on this Tuesday night, and President Trump speaking right now at the White House. This is a Hanukkah celebration. We're going to take you there live.
Federal resources to protect Jewish students and faculty. The faculty is under siege. The students are under siege. When you look at Columbia, you look at Harvard, you look at some of these schools, what's going on. But the faculty on campuses across America and are deporting foreign jihadist sympathizers and terrorist supporters at record levels. We're deporting them. We're not putting them in jails. We're deporting them. I terminated the disastrous Iran nuclear deal. And this summer, we obliterated Iran's nuclear program like nobody's ever seen. And even that, CNN fake news, they're back there. The camera's roaring. The light will go off in any second now. They hate when I mention their name because they know it's only bad because they're crooked as hell. They're fake news, you know, the term. I think it's one of my better terms, Sid, right? I don't think anybody takes it away. We have some good ones, Pocahontas, but I think fake news is probably pretty good. The only problem is it's actually not strong enough. You know, fake, it's crooked, corrupt, disgusting news, but we'll have to do with fake. But fake isn't strong enough. That's the only problem. It's actually, I wish I could come up with a word that's really more powerful than fake, but fake is good enough. But CNN with the attack on Iran, They said, well, I used the word we obliterated them. You know why? Because the pilots told me they know better than anybody, and the pilots told everything, and then we had visuals. And these pilots are coming back after having endured the most dangerous ride. I said, did you guys, I had them all to the Oval Office. After 2 weeks after the attack, I had them all. I had the pilots, and I had the people that maintained the planes. I had the people that fly the tankers. We had 52 tankers because we had the 7 major planes. We also had 4 planes flying in different, of the B-2, flying in different directions. Iran didn't know what the hell was happening. But we had a whole force of F-22s, most beautiful fighter jet ever made, most powerful fighter jet ever made. And F-35's a brand new one. And they're stealth. Believe me, they're stealth because they went into Iranian airspace and Iran never saw anything. And it was, think of this, 2 o'clock in the morning. It was dark at night. There was no moon at all, no light, no nothing. And every single bomb went right down those air shafts into granite mountains, right down those air shafts. At 2 o'clock in the morning with no vision, every single bomb hit its target. And CNN said on the way back, they were on the way, they hadn't even landed yet, well, maybe the attack wasn't that bad. Because I used the word obliteration. I turned out to be right. The Atomic Energy Commission shortly thereafter said it was total obliteration. Iran actually said it was total obliteration. In fact, they said touchdown. Yeah, it was a touchdown. But it was amazing. And we've never had an apology from CNN, So you have fake news against you, fake news. And I didn't fight for you. I wasn't fighting for you there. I was fighting for those pilots that were so brave to go there. When they came into the Oval Office, they said, you can't seriously enjoy this. They said, sir, we enjoy every minute of it. We were practicing this and the predecessors. We were practicing for 22 years, they said. For 22 years they were practicing. And no president had the courage to let them go and do that. They wanted to do it for 22 years. And the predecessors mean the young pilots at the time. But for 22 years, 3 times a year, they were practicing that run. And I'm the one that said, let's go get them, let's do it. And if we didn't, and they thanked me. But I did say to the pilots, enough is enough. I said, do you really like being in that plane when they're waiting for you? They know you're coming, it's dark, it's cold, it's everything is, and you're in a plane, and there are bullets flying all over the place, sir. I wouldn't trade this for anything in the world. Can you believe these people? And I love you people, but I'm not getting in that plane. I love you guys, but these people are unbelievable. The talent they have, the way they can fly those things, the way they can aim it at a target in the dark of night, the darkest you've ever seen. They wanted to be as dark as possible. They didn't want anything. And the only time anybody could see those planes was when those bomb chutes open up, because it becomes totally unstealth when it goes. I explained that to Mark Levin once. You're going in, you go like this, and as soon as it goes like this, for some reason, the plane is totally visible, not good. And I watched it happening, and it's like I'm sitting home watching it. It's amazing. The Situation Room is an amazing place. But I watched him go, bing, bing. It went bing, bing, and 2 massive 100,000-pound bombs come pouring out. And the job they did was incredible. I mean, compare that to, I thought he was a nice man, but compare that to the Jimmy Carter attack on Iran. That was not good, with the helicopters and the men running all over the place trying to get the hell out of there. This was not good. This was the single greatest military attack that anyone's ever seen. And that sort of put an end to, we helped Israel very much, as you know, with their attacks on Iran before that, but that really put an end to it because they were about a month away from having a nuclear weapon. I officially recognize the true capital of Israel and opened the American embassy in Jerusalem. Is Julie good? Where's Julie? Oh, good. I thought it was you that went down. It wasn't you? Oh, good. I was worried about, I didn't care about anybody else. I said, is Julie in trouble? I thought it was you. Good. It's somebody else. I wish them good luck, but I don't want that to happen to Julie. That's Mark's wife, by the way. Yeah, we love Julie. But I didn't see Julie ever going down. She's like a rock, right? Mark, she's a rock. I wouldn't want to have her as my enemy. She was also a great lawyer, by the way. I also recognize the Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights. Right? And that's one they didn't even ask me. Even Sheldon, who was the most aggressive human being there is in the entire world, this incredible woman, although she had total control. He was aggressive with everybody, but Miriam, he would play games with Miriam, but he was actually a sweetheart. But he never even asked me about the Golan Heights because he said, that's a step too far. I actually gave it because I called up. I heard so much about Golan Heights. From Jason Greenblatt, I heard it, from so many people. And I actually asked David Friedman. I said, he was the ambassador at the time, good guy. He said, and by the way, Mike Huckabee's doing a great job now. Two good ones, two very good ones. But I asked David Friedman, I don't know if David's here, but I asked him because he is so Israel-oriented. I mean, he's great. I said, David, tell me about Golan Heights in 5 minutes or less. You know, I'm taking in like 1,000 years of history in 5 minutes. I said, give it to me in 5 minutes or less. And after about 2 minutes, I said, I understand. You need it so badly for so many other reasons. You need it for defense. You know, in the old days, before we had all the sophisticated radar and all the things, it was everything because you were up high. But I learned enough, and I signed the Golan Heights, the rights to the Golan Heights over to Israel. Nobody thought that was possible to get. They've been working on it for 70 years, Mark. 70 years. You know, planes would fly into places that have meetings that would last 2-3 days. All they talked about was the Golan Heights, right, Jason? And nobody ever did anything, but I did it, and we did it quickly. And I say, good luck to you. Then I found out the value of it, trillions of dollars. It could be worth, if you think, trillions of dollars. I said, you know, maybe I should have asked him for something. But with Jared Kushner's help, Jared has been a great fan of Israel, the Kushner family. And by the way, how good is Steve Witkoff doing, right? You know, I got Steve involved in Russia, Ukraine, and the Middle East. We have, by the way, bottom line, we have legitimate peace in the Middle East. You know, you may have a little outbreak every once, but we have 59 countries all signed on. They'll do whatever is necessary. And Hamas, say what you want. Hamas, you know, we got back all of the hostages and all of the dead, young, beautiful people that were dead. And nobody thought that would happen. In fact, I even said, the toughest are going to be that final 20. We're never going to get them. But we played very tough, and we were very tough. We meant it. And we wanted to get back the 28 dead. 28 dead, young, beautiful people dead. Most of them, I think, pretty young. All of them pretty young. And the parents came up to me, and I told the story before. We had another little celebration of Hanukkah before. But I told the story before where the parents were as dedicated to getting their dead son back as they were to getting the live son back. It was an amazing and a beautiful thing, but I didn't think it would be possible. And then when we got the 20 back, when we got the live back, we didn't have anywhere close to the 28 dead. And I said, there's no way, but I said, you got to get it back. You got to get them back. I told that to Hamas, you got to get them back. And you know what? One by one, we got them back. And we got the last one back. We got them all back. And amazing, though, those parents were as dedicated, I can't say more, but they were as dedicated as the parents who knew their son was alive, and they begged to have him. And I'm very proud of it. I thought the last 20, and it was tough, I didn't know. But Steve Witkoff was great. Jared Kushner was great. And, you know, Jared's a brilliant guy, we all know. But Steve's a great deal maker. But I noticed one thing about him. He had the greatest personality. He was a real estate guy in New York. He knew less about rivers and meets and bounds in Russia and the various places he's working on. He knew nothing about it. But I recognized for 20 years, I've been dealing with everybody in New York. I said, Steve has the best personality. I have other guys that are great deal makers, but you have to go into World War III before the deal. We didn't want that. I said, everybody loves Steve. He's a great deal maker, but everybody loves him. And that's what turned out to be. People love Steve. And I think we're going to be pretty close. I mean, we're going to see. I thought the easiest war to settle would be Russia, Ukraine, because they have a good relationship with Putin. It would have never happened if I were president. That would have never, and it didn't happen for 4 years. Putin understood. Would have never, ever happened. But Steve has done a fantastic job, and he loves Israel, and he's done a great job. So we did Israel, and we did peace in the Middle East, and we have a real peace. That's a real peace. If Hamas acts up, they know it's big trouble. And we have Hezbollah, as you know, in Lebanon, and they're big trouble. But we have peace, and we have many countries that want to go in and take out Hezbollah if it happens, if we want to do it. Not just Israel. Many countries would do it. There's tremendous unity now in the Middle East, and we really do. We really have peace in the Middle East for the first time ever, so it's an honor. It's an honor. So we did our ceasefire agreement to end the war in Gaza, which everybody said was an impossibility, and we begin the new era of that beautiful peace in a place that nobody thought peace was possible, the Middle East. So congratulations, everybody in this room. Everybody wanted it. But the story of Hanukkah reminds us that light will always prevail over darkness, and faith and triumph over fear. Together, let us honor the eternal flame and the faith that has always protected the Jewish people. You are protected. You are special, special people. You are special people. So I want to thank everybody. I want to wish you all a happy Hanukkah. And you know, this is the first time that I've ever brought up notes to make a speech for. We call them the Christmas dinners. I call them the Christmas Hanukkah dinners, if that's okay. I hope you don't mind. But I call them New Year's dinners too. But I've made about 20 of them so far. I never had any others. I brought this up. You know why? I've done so much for Israel that I have to read. Look at it. I got like pages. And I don't want to leave anything out. I don't want to leave Golan Heights out. I want to tell you what we did. But it's an honor to help you. I have so many friends, and a lot of you are right in this audience. Very special group of people. You know, for every time we have one of these parties, we have to turn down 10 people for everyone that makes it. It's the White House. Soon you'll have a ballroom that's so big I can handle. And we just won the case today. Did you know that, Mark? We just won the case. We got sued. We're donating a $400 million ballroom, and we got sued not to build it. For 150 years, they've wanted a ballroom, and we're giving them, myself and donors are giving them, free of charge, for nothing. We're donating a building that's approximately 400 million. I think I'll do it for less, but it's 400. I should do it for less. I will do it for less. But just in case I say 400, otherwise if I go $3 over, the press will say, it costs more. I build under budget and ahead of schedule. Right, Jason? Always. I know how to build under budget. I build good. But we won the case. They asked for a restraining order to stop us from building a magnificent ballroom. I said, who would ask for a restraint? We're giving them, Sid, a $400 million. It'll be the most beautiful ballroom, and it'll handle inaugurations. It's got 5-inch thick glass windows. It's impenetrable by anything but a howitzer. It's impenetrable. Now, I will say, if I'm up making a speech someday, Mark, and I hear ding, 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 I'm out of there. But it's going to be one of the greatest. I think it'll be the greatest ballroom anywhere in the world. But I said, who else but in our country would sue to stop a $400 million beautiful ballroom that people have been after for the White House? The White House has wanted a ballroom for 150 years. You know, they used to use a tent, and they have a tent, and the tent would go in a very low area because it's the only area that can handle a big tent. And if it rained, the rain would go over the woman's beautiful shoes with the high heels, about 6-7 inches worth of water. They'd be sitting in the water, and people said, would rather have that than a brand new. This ballroom is going to be amazing. Also designed to handle the inauguration so that you have total safety from not only the weather. January 20th is always a disaster from the coldness standpoint. But, you know, we had it in the Capitol, and there was nothing more beautiful. But from a safety standpoint, we can do better. So we're going to have something that's really, really spectacular. And I thank the judge in the case for the courage in making the proper decision, because we didn't want to be held up. We would win that automatically anyway, but we didn't want to be held up or delayed. We want to go, and right outside you see the pile drivers going boom, 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 and my wife is being driven crazy. She said, this is not what I had in mind. You know, the first day she was great. She heard these piles that go down 150 feet into the ground, boom. Second day, she was okay. Third day, she wasn't thrilled, and after that, it's been brutal. But you know what? You're going to have the greatest ballroom anywhere in the world, and you're going to love it. It's going to fit beautifully with the White House. Happy Hanukkah. Have a great year. We love you, and we love Israel. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, Mark. Thank you.
All right, you've been listening to President Trump making remarks at the White House Hanukkah celebration. This is night 3 of Hanukkah. Yep. The president doing what he does, Tony P. He covered a wide range of topics while celebrating Hanukkah. Yeah. Shouted out some of his biggest supporters in the room as well. So yeah, Tony. I mean, look, admittedly, you know, he hit some of his greatest hits.
Yeah, he did. I mean, look, when you look at, again, it's the Hanukkah celebration. It's a beautiful celebration at the White House. And especially there was the national menorah lighting that happened on Sunday and was, you know, of course, at a very, very, and still is a very horrific time for American Jewish people in the United States and around the world with the horrific attacks at Bondi Beach. In Australia, we still continue to send our love and prayers to the 15 beautiful souls and their families.
And the president did
and he did
mention
that, yes, he did.
Correct.
And so this Hanukkah in particular, I think, not just for Jewish people around the world, and especially in Australia, but here in the United States, and we covered this last night, that they are reeling, of course, and really trying to figure out how to go forward with their holiday, you know, in this just this horrible rising tide of anti-Semitism. So I think this is a very important celebration on the behalf of the White House. The menorah lighting happening on Sunday. I think it's very, very important to stand side by side with our Jewish brothers and sisters right now in their time of grieving. The ceremony, yes, the president covered in that tribute and definitely talked about the Jewish holiday and the light and all those beautiful sentiments of what this holiday means. He did also cover some greatest hits. I mean, he really went into things like CNN and the Russia investigation and talking about other things that are definitely not adjacent to the celebration, talking about the ballroom.
Iran bombing.
Yeah, the ballroom, mentioning the lawsuit that we're going to talk about a little bit.
Yeah.
The lawsuit being filed by the Preservation Council here in D.C.
Yeah,
and really went on that.
Me up for our very next topic.
Yeah, and just he covered a wide array of things, just to say the least, and talked about, you know, his first term, some of the stuff with the Abraham Accords, the Gaza deal that he signed in this term, as well as the placement of the U.S. ambassador and embassy of Israel in Jerusalem, which was a major part of President Trump's first foreign policy array in his first term, and again had many other discussions with the crowd. Shouted out a lot of supporters, Mark Levin being one of them, of Fox News. There was also Miriam Adelson in the room, mentioned her multiple times, as well as other individuals with the Trump organization and business partners, Steve Wick as well. So a lot of things he covered. And again, when you listen to President Trump's speech, you have to really pay attention to the different kind of rabbit holes he goes down, because he'll get on a topic and he starts kind of drilling down, talking about windows and things like that, and he likes to talk about, he likes to describe the surroundings of the building right now, which is interesting, talking about the loud noises that are keeping the First Lady up at night. But that's part of what he calls the weave. So it's part of the overall picture of when he gives speeches.
It sounds like the rabbi is speaking now, Tony, so let's go ahead and listen.
Of course, yep.
That even if they all turn against us, God forbid, you never will. And so I think that it is a great honor that I've been invited to lead the lighting of the menorah here this year. And I want to wish you and your family good health and happiness, strength and safety to our troops, serving stateside and abroad. May God bless America. May God bless Israel. May God bless the Jewish people. Thank you.
All right, so you heard from the rabbi there.
Yep, very important words.
The candle.
Very important words.
We're going to make two blessings, after which we're going to light 3 candles. And then all those who know the words can join us in Ma'oz Tzur. Please join if you know the words and the tune.
All right, we're going to keep live coverage of this event, this Hanukkah event at the White House, going on Fox 5 DC's YouTube page. We have another stream happening right there. But in the meantime, Tony, I do want to move on to what we had just talked about a little earlier, which is that construction at the White House. You heard the president bring it up. A federal judge said today construction on that new White House ballroom, which now we heard from the president, price tag up to $400 million, but we heard that that ballroom construction can continue. Preservationists had requested a temporary restraining order. However, the judge said he would hear arguments next year about whether to issue a longer-term preliminary injunction against the project. He also instructed the Trump administration to follow through on a pledge to submit plans for the project to the National Capital Planning Commission. The White House had argued stopping the project was a national security risk.
Right, because the fact that the building was already torn down and not incapacitated, what am I trying to say? Like, I think exposed potentially, that the administration was saying, look, we've already torn down a part of the building. There's different security protocols and procedures that we have to add in now, and that does put the White House at a potential risk. Now, just a quick note, I had friends that went to the White House Christmas party on, I think it was Friday night, and there were alternate routes to get into the White House, because usually for all parties you come through the east wing.
You would enter through the east
and
wing,
you go behind the White House and you check in through those multiple checkpoints. Well, those checkpoints were moved to kind of, I would call it like an indoor kind of catwalk design in front of the White House near that public area where people can, I think it's right a little bit further back, but it's in that last shot you had in the gravel area where people can walk around, they can see the fence, they can get close to the White House a little bit. They were walking through there to go into the front of the White House, through the where the press usually go out towards the semicircle. So that was what the administration was saying, is that those new routes and the building being torn down, it could potentially be more exposed given that situation. Now, based on my analysis, we talked about this in the 2 o'clock hour for some of our takes on this. I do not see the court ruling against the Trump administration because there is potentially a legitimate national security issue with that. Now, folks will say, and I think as well, that they tore that building down as part to get ahead of this, so if there were lawsuits, they could make this argument, which there is a legitimate argument because of the nature of who's in the House. The staff, the president, the first lady, vice president goes in as well. So a lot of national security events happening at once in that building. So that'll be an interesting case to watch.
One other quick note about the president, 2 other quick notes about the president. Actually, tomorrow he's going to go to Dover, Delaware for the dignified transfer for the remains of the soldiers who were killed in Syria. And then tomorrow night at 9 o'clock, he is planning a national address from the White House to the nation. We will carry that live right here on Fox 5 DC's YouTube page, on Fox Local, and of course the live zone prime time. In the meantime, you see the live picture down there, the president exiting. We do want to talk a little more construction, but we're going to move from the White House to the Bay Bridge now, because the Maryland Transportation Authority is set to vote later this week on a recommendation for a brand new Chesapeake Bay Bridge. This is big. A recent study came up with 7 alternative bridge plans. Local, state, and federal officials say alternate C is what they're calling it, is the best bet. And that's the one they will now bring to the Transportation Authority Board. The plan would widen Route 50 and 301. It would tear down the existing bridge and it would replace it with a new 4-lane span. So we are talking taking down the entire current Bay Bridge, replacing it entirely. If everything stays according to plan, this won't happen until the year 2032, though. Josh Rosenthal covering this for us. He's going to have much more on this and reaction from drivers coming up on Fox 5 News at 10. In the meantime, we do want to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the latest with the Rob Reiner murder investigation, his son in custody. We're going to talk to an entertainment lawyer all about that. In the meantime, we're going to leave you with a live picture from the stacks from our Fox 5 Skycam. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Live Zone Prime Time. Coming up on 9:30 on this Tuesday night, prosecutors in Los Angeles say they will charge Nick Reiner with 2 counts of first-degree murder in the deaths of his parents. The district attorney says the son of the Hollywood director, Rob Reiner, used a knife in the killings of his parents, Rob and Michelle. The announcement comes 2 days after Rob and Michelle were found dead in their Brentwood home. Nick Reiner was supposed to be in court today, but his attorney said he was not medically cleared to be transported to the courtroom. Police have not said anything about a motive for these killings at this time. In the meantime, though, for more on the case and what comes next, entertainment attorney Erica Rose joins us now live on Live Zone Primetime. Erica, thank you so much for joining us. I know you were talking to Guy about this exact same case earlier, moments after we found out that Nick was not due in court. So can you talk to me a little bit about what it means to not be medically cleared, why he would not have been in court, why they would have anticipated this court date, and what could come next?
Well, not being medically cleared could either mean it's most likely mentally, but it could potentially be physically. Maybe he sustained injuries from killing his parents with a knife, or they could be trying to go for some type of insanity defense or something like that, it seems like is a good guess. But medically clear just means like he's not fit to appear, whether it's mentally or physically or both.
When we look at this case, talking about a potential insanity defense potentially, and looking at who is now on the defense table for Nick Reiner, could we talk about a little bit who this attorney is? I know that they worked with Karen Reed and some other famous defendants. Does that bring into light any potential path where Nick Reiner is going to plead guilty potentially? Will there be an insanity defense? Or are there certain tea leaves that you're reading right now about where this case could be headed?
Well, I know that his attorney represented Harvey Weinstein, and I'm not sure if, that went that well, but I don't know if he's going to be able to plead complete insanity, but some insiders in the entertainment world has told me that from their knowledge of Nick that he has been to multiple rehab facilities, and I don't know if this is confirmed yet, but and then also people at Conan O'Brien's party the night before said he was arguing with people. But regardless, I do think that it will be hard for his attorney to get him to avoid the sentence of life in prison. That's just my opinion, even though he is a good attorney.
So the charges that he faces at this time carry the possibility of either life without parole or the death penalty. Right. Do you see prosecutors going that route, or do you think they may try to push for something more like therapy, or what, depending on whether the defense that they take, what kind of punishment do you see them pursuing?
Well, I don't really think they would seek the death penalty because Governor Gavin Newsom has put a hold on the executions for a while, and so that would just kind of be pointless. But I do hope that he does get some type of psychiatric help, even if then he goes to prison and stays there. It would be nice to think that he could go to a court-mandated, not a luxury rehab like promises, but a court-mandated psychiatric criminal hospital. I'm not sure exactly the one for that. But if someone is that mentally ill, and killing the parents is not a normal thing to do, and I don't think it was premeditated. So it does feel like he has some mental illness, and hopefully he'll get to work on that along with being punished for his crimes. And I think that maybe prosecutors don't know yet what they're going to do because they're kind of waiting to see how he pleads and how the defense unfolds.
Given the nature of this case and who is involved, what could this timeline look like for this case in terms of from start to finish, jury selection, all the way through a whole trial and then a jury verdict? Could this be something that's a year from now, or could they do a speedy trial potentially given where the attorneys stand, or what could this look like kind of play by play?
I think a year is really an accurate timeline, like you said. I don't think it would be faster than that, but I think they're going to probably bring in a lot of experts, such as his former psychiatrist. It will be interesting to see if his sister, who so terrible that she had to find her parents like that, my heart's just going out to her and the trauma that she must be experiencing. I could not even imagine that. But I'm sure they're going to speak to experts, including the family members, including people that were there at the party the night before, even if they don't want to be, they'll be subpoenaed whether or not they like that. And just talking to different experts to really figure out, was he actually insane or just angry, basically. But I do think a year is a reasonable timeline. I don't really see it being expedited faster than that because there's so much to uncover.
Erica, have you, from your professional opinion, the way that this case has kind of unfolded so far, the LA Sheriff's Department got a lot of pushback on social media for the way they handled the initial press briefing. Yeah. Then they came out and they named that Nick Reiner was a person of interest. Then he was a suspect. Then he was arrested and he had a $4 million bond, and then it was being held without bond, and then it was both supposed to be in court today for his initial appearance, and then he wasn't there. From your professional opinion so far, have you seen kind of mistakes in the way this case is pursuing, or is it more playing out in the media and the police are being a little more meticulous and investigators are being a little more meticulous and we're getting ahead of ourselves a little bit?
Yeah, I would say it's the latter. I do feel like the police and the investigators are doing their best, honestly. And I do think that because this is such an interest, everyone really mostly loved Rob and all of his movies, touched everyone's hearts. So I think the public interest as well as the trauma of what happened is playing into it. But I really do think the police are doing their best as well as the prosecution is going to. And they're just kind of being understanding because he probably is in a crazy condition and he might even have some physical injuries. But the fact that he used a knife is relevant, and they have brought that up because using a knife is considered a more evil thing to do, a more violent thing to do than just shooting someone with a gun. So that is also relevant. And I think that justice will definitely be served, but they're also handling this delicately because California is one of the states that is more caring and empathetic about potential mental illness than other states like Texas might be.
So two kind of final questions here. So this case in some outlets is being compared to the O.J. Simpson case, especially where it happened in Brentwood, and there was a double homicide. Of course, the fame nature behind this. Given your experience, could you foresee any proceedings or a trial being open to the public? I mean, we have seen influencers sadly and exploiting a horrible situation being on the site at Rob Reiner's house, but are there ways that they're going to make this trial to the public and put some restrictions behind that if that happens? Like, what could that look like from a disclosure perspective?
I feel like a lot's evolved since the days of O.J. Simpson, and I don't think that O.J. Simpson ever pled insanity or was insane at all. So I feel that depending on if it is found that Nick is, mentally ill, which it's likely that he is, I think that they'll have some precautions and it wouldn't really be readily available to just anyone in the public to stream and watch. And I would hope so, especially for his daughter's sake. I know he also has other children, but she's very young. And it just feels like it shouldn't be made for someone's entertainment. I think we've evolved a lot as a society, hopefully, since the OJ days.
Yeah, and finally, like, what are some of the resources potentially beyond a criminal case that the remaining children of Rob Reiner and Michelle Reiner can pursue in this case? Again, whether it be civilly or there are other legal means that they can pursue.
Well, according to the Slayer statute, Nick will not ever be able to inherit from his parents. So I doubt that finances hopefully are on the other children's minds. But I do think that, of course, the other children will inherit everything as they should, and Nick should not inherit anything. And, luckily, all the states have adopted the Slayer statute, and I'm sure that his daughter that found him is going to have to seek a lot of counseling. Maybe she can start a charity for people with addictions or mental illness. And, it's up to them and how close they are to their brother, what else they want to do. And I think it's too early for any of us to know what they're going to do.
All right. Entertainment attorney Erica Rose, thank you so much for spending some time with us and breaking down this case.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We're going to take a quick break. As we head to break, we're going to take a live look from our Fox 5 Skycam in Frederick, Maryland. You see the Christmas lights. When we come back, we're going to switch gears a little bit. We're going to get a preview of tomorrow night's floor finale from one of the DMV natives who has made it all the way to the final 16, competing for that $250,000 grand prize. Valerie's going to join us live coming up next. We'll be right back.
the White House. Way in the back.
Hi, I'm Valerie. I was a former White House staffer. I spent a lot of my time every day walking through the halls of the White House, and I know this place in my head and also in my heart.
Wow.
We had the same employer, the White House.
Yes, we do. Nobody knows more fake stuff about the White House than me. Maybe you.
So that was a clip from a recent episode of The Floor. You may remember earlier this month we talked to another contestant.
Yeah, we had a couple
from
this
it.
last few months.
We have had a few from the DMV, and that was Valerie, a former White House staffer who calls the DMV home. She's one of the final 16 players hoping to go home with the $250,000 prize in tomorrow night's brand new, all new finale. First, though, Valerie joins us live to talk about her time on the show and maybe share some spoilers. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what we can get. I
Well,
mean,
what
she's
can we
probably
get here?
used to keeping secrets if you spent some
with
time
you.
in the White House. So, did you win it all? Can you tell us?
Well, I can tell you that last episode I won $20,000.
Oh, hell yeah.
Ooh,
Congratulations.
I like that.
Out of curiosity,
So congrats automatically for that.
congratulations automatically. Is that some of the money that you used to go on that little trip with the last guy that we talked to on the show?
You know, it's so funny because a lot of my friends were texting me asking if I had won some money on a game show because I was traveling a bunch recently. But no, I hadn't gotten my paycheck yet from Fox. And so I did go on that trip just on my own with Frank.
Okay,
And it was fantastic. Yeah.
Very, very nice.
Love it. So now let me ask you this. So that clip that we just showed, of course, mentioning the fact that you worked in the White House, and so did Rob Lowe in The West Wing as Sam Seaborn, the famous character, which really motivates every DC person to come to DC, right? Now, let me ask you this. Were you able to, off screen or during the production, maybe like have a powwow with Sam Seaborn a little bit, talking about that White House knowledge or behind the scenes stuff, or no?
No, I think we should ask for a redo right now.
It's happened.
It's so funny because on one of the promos they showed that Sam Seaborn, Rob Lowe, said that he thought there were some specific categories that he could take down, and one of them was the White House, and I would love to challenge him on for the White House.
Can you tell us a little
YouTube
bit about your
series.
time in the White House?
Yeah, sure. I was at the Biden-Harris White House where I did a few things, but I'm going to tell you a fun story, actually. One of my greatest accomplishments and biggest memories of being in the White House was actually getting to be the White House Easter Bunny.
No way.
Yes, way. And so it was really quite a fun time. Like, there are only 2 bunnies at a specific time slot that get to stand on the Truman balcony with the president and the first lady. And so I got to stand there and wave really big to the public. And it was just really one of the most magical experiences I've ever had. Beat being on the floor and winning $20,000.
Fair enough, but obviously the White House, while that's a fun memory, it is also a high-pressure, high-stakes environment. Did that prepare you for this, being a contestant on a show like The Floor?
Not at all. I have never been as exhausted physically and mentally than I've ever been on this adventure on the floor. I mean, it was fantastic, but it was really, really exhausting. It was so grueling, studying or standing and also sort of playing these mind games with other people, right? And so I definitely talked up having worked at the White House to really scare everybody off and wanting to challenge me because there's no way they were going to know more than I know about the White House.
When you're going through this entire process, being on air like this, going through the process of studying and having those bright lights, how do you show resilience in a process like that to get this far through the process with the mind games and the studying? What is your one big key to keeping resilience in a new situation like that? You have a lot of things happening that are brand new at once.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's a lot of practice. I was born and raised in Malaysia, and I moved to the U.S. as a 17-year-old on a high school exchange program, and so I've just lived in different places independently and done a lot of things as a younger person, and so you just build a lot of resilience that way, I think. And the reality is that this was a game show I also really wanted to have fun, and that I did, I think.
So, two quick questions for you that I don't know. One of them you may not actually know the answer to, and I don't yet know the answer to it either. But one, so the president, you worked in the White House, so this can't come as a huge surprise to you, but the president scheduled a primetime address for tomorrow night at 9 o'clock. Tomorrow night is supposed to be the finale, a two-part finale that runs from 8 to 10. Has there been any update on what the plan is for the show, A? And B, any plans on following in Sam Seaborn's footsteps and maybe parlaying this time from both of you worked in the White House and now maybe both of you could be game show hosts?
Ooh.
I'll answer the second part first. No, I have no desire to be a game show host.
No?
I'll let. I mean, sure, why not? Call me. But apparently I'm good at home organization because that's the category that I won my $20,000 in. So that is the path that is before me, should I choose to go. It's funny that you asked the question about conversations around tomorrow's scheduled conflict during our finale, and it's blowing up on our chat group.
Okay.
There are almost 99 other people on the chat group because we keep in touch. So there's a lot of speculation, but I think informally what I read is that our half of the show will air and then they'll take a pause and then they will resume.
Okay.
So the show will still go on.
Interesting.
The show must go
It
on.
must.
Showbiz rule number one.
Now, it's not show friends, it's show business. Now, my final question for you, in the structure of the game, right? What do you think is the most compelling and the most challenging part of a game like The Floor when you're out there and trying to solve all these different questions and then competing with all these incredible people as well?
Oh, that's a good one. Gosh, I think it just depends on like what your goals are going onto a game show like this. I actually had said I had zero desire to be on a game show like this because there's so much studying involved. And I actually got on it because I was helping a friend who really wanted to get on it look through the audition steps on the website.
Okay.
And then the audition page said that you needed to have a valid passport to be on the show. And it's totally public information now, but back then it was a little harder to dig. Yeah, it films in Ireland, and as an avid traveler, that immediately stood out to me, and I said, "Screw it! Like, I don't care if it's going to be hard.
Right.
I want to
Going.
take Ireland." That's what motivated me to get on the show, and I thought I'm just gonna go. I'm just gonna have fun. All I wanted was this ticket to Ireland, but it was compelling enough that you get there and you're like, I gotta try to do whatever I can to put myself in the best position to win some money. And for me, what I was going for was at least $20,000, and I got it.
And you got it.
And I had
Nice
I
goal.
just had so much fun.
And you made it all the way to the finale. I got to let you go, but real quick, that friend that you were supposed to be helping get on the show, and now, so what happened to them, A, and B, I mean, are they still rooting for you, or are they a little in their feelings about this?
Yeah, well, I don't think that she's in her feelings about it. She zoomed in to watching me in the semifinal last week
I love
because
it.
she doesn't live nearby. And you know what? She got on the perfect line and she won some a cash prize as well. So
All right.
all is well. I think that
Everybody.
I am
The
trying to root for her
DMV
to
just
get on.
keeps crushing
I mean,
it, and
we're
I
just
love
like,
that.
I'll tell you, like, we have like just a game show brilliance in this area. I mean, I think it's something, in the water or our incredible school
No
system or
question.
colleges. There's got to be something
I love
about the
it.
White House or like, how smart we all are. I just think this is great.
Valerie, thank you so much for spending some time with us here on the Live Zone Primetime. Good luck tomorrow night. We will be watching.
Yes.
And of course, you can catch the finale right here on Fox 5, Wednesday night, 8 o'clock. The president does have his primetime address at 9 o'clock, but you will be able to see what happens tomorrow night. Valerie, good luck. We'll be watching.
Yes, we will.
We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, Tony P is going to tell us what else he was watching
Yes.
today. We'll be right back. had to get that in.
Oh,
Had to
you're
get that
right.
in.
We didn't do
We
that.
didn't do that off the top of the
Man,
show
you
since the
stumped
president was
me.
already
You
speaking, so
stumped
I
me,
had to
my
get it
friend.
in, and it's the perfect setup to what Tony's watching.
All right, I'm going to
in
get this
our
done in
final
under
7 minutes of
5-6
the
minutes, okay? You know me, my long-winded rundowns. I'm going to run this one back, though, okay? Starting here in, of course, the U.S., we have President Trump ordering a total and complete blockade of all sanctioned oil tankers entering or leaving Venezuela. He announced that designation today, designating the Maduro regime as a foreign terrorist organization. In a Truth Social post today, the president declared that Venezuela is completely surrounded by the largest armada ever assembled in the history of South America, claiming it will only get bigger until Venezuela returns all of the oil, land, and other assets that they previously stole from us, quote unquote. The dramatic escalation comes after U.S. forces seized an oil tanker off Venezuela's coast last week. President Trump accused the Maduro regime of using oil from stolen oil fields to finance drug terrorism, human trafficking, murder, and kidnapping. The U.S. Navy has deployed 11 ships to the region, including an aircraft carrier and several amphibious assault ships, along with the PA Poseidon Maritime Patrol aircraft. Energy experts say the blockade may have modest impact on oil markets, as it targets only sanctioned tankers representing about 300,000 barrels per day of Venezuela's 900,000 barrels in daily exports. President Trump has made clear also his desire for the U.S. to regain access to Venezuela's oil industry and has not ruled out a ground invasion at this time. Michelle Obama revealed on Jimmy Kimmel Live last night that she and Barack Obama have plans to see Rob and Michelle Reiner on Sunday night, just hours before the couple was found murdered in their Brentwood home. Fighting back tears, the former First Lady called the Reiners some of the most decent, courageous people you ever want to know, in what appeared to be a veiled response to President Trump's controversial comments the day before. President Trump, of course, posted on Truth Social that Reiner died from Trump derangement syndrome, quote unquote, drawing bipartisan condemnation. The couple's 32-year-old son, Nick, has been charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder, as we have discussed, with special circumstances. President Trump as well defended his chief of staff today, Susie Wiles, after a Vanity Fair profile featured her blunt assessments of the administration. In 11 interviews over the past year, Wiles said President Trump has an alcoholic's personality, called Vice President J.D. Vance a conspiracy theorist for a decade, and said Attorney General Pam Bondi completely whiffed on handling the Epstein Files case. The president told the New York Post he stands by Wiles and agrees with her alcoholic personality assessment, saying, I've often said if I did drink, I'd have a very good chance of being an alcoholic. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt faced tough questions today as well about Wiles' contradiction of President Trump's claims regarding Bill Clinton and Jeffrey Epstein. In the Vanity Fair interview, Wiles said President Trump was wrong about Clinton visiting Epstein's island 28 times. A New York Times investigation, speaking of Jeffrey Epstein, reveals how Mr. Epstein built his fortune through connections far broader than previously known. Federal prosecutors opened a money laundering investigation in 2007 alongside the sex trafficking probe, requesting grand jury subpoenas for every financial transaction by Epstein and his businesses dating back to 2003. Major banks, including J.P. Morgan, Deutsche Bank, and Bank of America, processed over $1.5 billion in suspicious transactions tied to Epstein's sex trafficking ring, with many filing reports years late. The investigation shows Epstein manipulated high-net-worth clients and exploited legal loopholes throughout his career, raising questions about regulatory failures that continue today. In the world of entertainment, Alex Earle turned 25 today. The influencer and social media personality shared emotional videos admitting she's not feeling her best following her breakup with NFL player Braxton Berrios. Also in entertainment, Courtney B. Vance received his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame today, with his wife Angela Bassett and their 19-year-old twins, Bronwyn and Slater, by his side. The two-time Emmy Award winner star is located across the street from Bassett's own star at the Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel. Also, finally, in the social media world, Instagram launched its first dedicated TV app today, bringing Reels on the big screen exclusively on Amazon Fire TV devices. The Instagram for TV app organizes Reels into personalized channels based on interests like music, sports, travel, and trending topics. Up to 5 Instagram accounts can be linked per household, with the app applying content standards suitable for broad audiences. And that is the whole gambit rundown from Tony P tonight.
You crushed it.
Thank you.
Going back to
I
Courtney,
stammered towards the end there for a minute.
going back to Courtney B. Vance. Okay, so you brought up O.J. Simpson earlier when we were talking about Rob Reiner. If you haven't seen The People versus O.J.
He's
Simpson,
fantastic.
where he played Johnny Cochran.
Oh,
Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I
One for
also
one.
loved him as District Attorney Carver on Law and Order, Criminal
Excellent.
Intent, which if you've never watched that, you absolutely
Also,
should. It's
12
on Jeff.
Angry Men, the TV movie with Jack Lemmon.
Okay.
He plays the jury foreman. He's an excellent
He's
actor.
excellent in everything.
He has had 2 Emmys, great performances. His wife should have 2 Oscars by now.
Yeah.
One for supporting actress for Black Panther 2, I think it was, and then also for the Tina Turner biopic. What's Love Got to Do with It? Her and Lawrence Fishburne should have the Oscar, but again, Courtney B. Vance, just a incredible just actor and has range from TV to movies. This guy can do it all. Well deserved.
I want to go back to this, though, in our final minute, because I think this is a dumb idea. And okay,
be blunt.
Bear with me here. And we talked about this at 7:30 tonight. I fully appreciate and respect that social media, that these apps, that TikTok have changed the game. More people spending more time on these than they do watching TV. However, my question remains, if you are watching Reels on your TV, what are you doing on your phone at the same time? They need to figure out a way to cross those
the
platforms
worlds
at the same time.
Right.
They need to give you a reason to be on both at the same time. When I'm watching TV, I am 100% scrolling social media at the same time. So if I have social media on my TV, what am I doing on my phone? They've got to give me something to be doing to make that connection at the same time. That's just me. We're down to the final 10 seconds. Tony P, appreciate it as always. A busy, busy evening. Once again, we'll be back tomorrow night. The President's Address, Fox 5 News at 10 is next.